Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Notes from a Songbird podcast from yours truly, Myra DeShields Farrell. Today, we're talking about the art of auditioning. I love auditioning. I know I say there's a lot of things I love, but I love singing, number one, but to get to that point where you feel confident in what you do, you at some point are going to have to audition. I'm a firm believer in the auditioning process. In fact, a lot of times when I'm about to comb a specific project, as far as looking for singers, looking for dancers or musicians or whatever it is, I believe in the art of auditioning. Auditioning is what gets us what we need so that that project has the best chance to do well. So I'm a firm believer of that. So in episode 10, we're going to talk about auditioning. And I always have my notes because I always want to go back and think of what did I do? What happened to me? What was successful? What didn't quite work as well? And why not? And how do we make sure we're not making mistakes when we get to that point? So, this podcast, as I said at the outset, would be for beginners, but also for those who are still getting their footing, trying to find their way, as well as some people who could be advanced but making some horrible mistakes. And let me say this to you in all honesty, and what I've seen, advanced singers make this mistake. I've seen it. I've been in live auditions and they walk in, and I say to myself, no one ever showed them what to do or no one ever told them what to do. So wouldn't it be nice if you had a friend to tap you on the shoulder to say, hey, psst, psst, by the way, the next time you go through that, you might want to consider some tried and true things that really worked or did not, and just keep your eye on the ball there. So with my notes, I'm going to say this to you. Auditions aren't just about talent. They really aren't. Auditions are about presence, preparation, and psychology. I've walked into rooms confident and I've walked out questioning everything. So let's talk about what really matters. So, episode 10, we're going to dive into the audition process. What is auditioning? Auditioning is not just singing, it's first impressions. Notice I said first impressions. The moment you walk into that room and you take that stage or you take that corner of the room, whatever the platform is, the first thing people are going to see without you even opening your mouth is your presence. They're going to look you up and down. They'll check out your hair, your style. They'll look at your nails. They will go from top to bottom, back to the top to see what you look like. Why is that? Because first impressions count. And when you walk into a room, they're trying to see if you have that thing, that's something special, or just that spark that they're looking for their project. So make sure you show up. Show up. Show up dignified. Don't look like you rolled out of bed. Don't look like you didn't comb your hair. Dignify yourself as if you're going to a job interview and the specific job in question, and show up for that job like you would in a job interview setting. A lot of what you're going to learn here, is real world tips and advice for walking into the world and conducting an interview. It's the same principles. You really have to know who your audience is and cater accordingly and make sure you show up appropriately. So let's talk about that a little bit. You want to walk in with energy. So if you walk into an audition and you say, hello, my name is Myra Farrell. I'm going to audition for the part of Annie. Did you hear my energy is down? That's a downward cast to the director or anyone who's looking, cast members or what have you, uh, casting directors rather, are looking to see what type of energy do you have. So if you're going to walk in the room and you want a part, you have to come with energy. You have to come with, hi, my name is Myra. I will be coming in today to audition for the part of Annie. My song selection is, You would name your song selection, and hopefully you have that all ready and queued up so that when it's time for them to say, "Nice to meet you, Myra," cue music, or whatever they say to get that audition going, you are ready. When you meet individuals, you look them in their eyes, you do a direct hi, how are you? If there's a panel, it's just three people, you comb, good day, hello, hi. You put your eyes on every individual, or if you don't want to go that far, you could say, hello, everyone. Make sure you glance at everyone to make sure you are recognizing them in the room. You are recognizing their authority. You're recognizing their position. And you never want to balk if something doesn't go your way. So make sure you show up with those three things: the first impression, your energy, and be a professional at all times. Shift your mindset. Shift your mindset. What do I mean by that? Don't walk into the room with, oh, I hope they pick me. Oh, I just got to get this part. Oh, it would mean the world to me to get this part. And you actually say that to them. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. We are not desperate. Okay. We want to show them instead, shift your mindset, show them what you can bring. Show them who you are. Remember that? Show them who you are. Remember that, right? From our famous movie, Black Panther. Show them who you are. Show them you can walk in the room and command it. Take that stage and deliver. As they say, stand and deliver and be confident. Because if you're confident, that's what's going to come through as individuals start to see you and your personality shine. But the key is preparation. Now, remember, we talked about the three things. So, preparation first. Know your material. Don't just know your lyrics. Mm-mm. Study. What's the emotion of the story that you're auditioning with? And if it's not a story, what is the emotion of the song that you are planning to audition with? If I'm going to sing something sad, remember we talked about that in another episode, then you have to convey that through your emotion. You have to pick a song that really shines and conveys that in your emotion so that the director can believe, or the person who is auditioning you can believe that you know what you're singing about. If you don't know what you're singing about, it's like a job interview. You came in here, you're talking about you can do the following things, but then when it's time to stand and deliver and talk about it, you are completely off the rict, like you're not even close. They can see through that, and you want to be careful that you are showing up in the appropriate manner so that you are hopefully selected. And even if you're not selected, maybe there's a secondary role that they see you shine in that they end up giving you that role. Now, that's happened to me. I auditioned for a play. I wanted a star role in that play. I didn't get it. But the director looked at me and said, but you are this person. That's what you want. You want a chance to shine. Whether you get the main character part or a secondary part, did you succeed? Absolutely. You're part of that production. You're in. You're in. And now you get the experience that you need to go further. So pay attention to that. Isn't that happening in jobs? I mean, give me a thumbs up or a comment if you agree with that. I've seen it where people have gone to a job interview, gone for a specific role, and they're told no for some reason, this role doesn't sound like you at all. And the person just thinks, okay, that's it. I'm not that person. I would be a forward thinker to ask, are there any other roles that you see would fit my personality or my skill set? Those are ways in which you can use real world life living to apply in your daily activities or interviewing. It's the same thing if you're auditioning. You have to be able to ask appropriate questions when the time is right. Sometimes they'll ask you, do you have any questions? There you are. Now, so make sure you know your material, not just your lyrics, and you need to connect your emotion with the story. If you're supposed to be angry, then be angry. Sing angry. If you're supposed to be sad, then do that. If you're supposed to be melancholy and whimsical, then be that. You have to learn how to convey what that is. And if you're not sure what those look like, then research material, Broadway shows or movies where you've seen someone convey that information. Let me give you a point of reference because I love to do that. So in Dreamgirls, Effie, when she sings, and I'm telling you, I'm not going, she is not smiling. She's not, and I am dead. She's not, no. She's angry. She's pounding, heart pounding. And I am telling you, like you can feel the intensity. That's where you want to make sure you are. So make sure you convey the emotion to the story. Choose the right song. You've got to choose the right song that fits your voice and the moment. So go prepared with material that is often common, that people pretty much have heard before, and they can sort of compare or use it as a guide to figure out where you belong. So make sure you're doing those things. Practice transitions. So walking in, speaking exciting. Did you see that? So when I said, hi, how are you? My name is so and so. If the person's right there, you close, you can get a handshake, fine. If they're not, let's say you're on stage and they're low below, hi, how are you? Look down to them, smile, greet them, show your teeth, and be pleasant as possible and be cheerful. Make sure you have a great disposition. And that way, those are transitions as you're talking, you're taking them on the journey. They may say, tell me a little bit about yourself. That is your opportunity to have transitions and to walk in talking about yourself. My name is Myra Farrell. I went to the School of Music and Art. I'm classically trained. I have under my wheelhouse jazz and R&B, but I'm able to sing all different genres. Today I'm going to sing for you A, B, C, and D, right? Let's say they want you just to walk in. A lot of times they'll guide you and tell you, for your audition, bring in the following. Follow the letter. Get a checklist. Make sure you are checking off everything. Pack your stuff, leave it in a corner, ready to go. Make sure if they say they want a file ready, an MP, whatever, you have that ready that you can share out to them. Do not blunder. Bring an extra charging cord. Bring everything you need so that you can be successful in that audition. You never know if you have to play something straight from your device or you have to send them a recording. Show up. Show up like the star that you want to be and you want them to see you as. There's a saying that you have to become the thing you want to see. So if you want them to see a star, be a star. Show up the correct way so that people can say, this one here is not coming to play. They came in here ready. Okay? Now, let's talk about my personal moments. I had an audition where they were doing a showcase and they were bringing in people from all over. I was in Newark. It was supposed to be in at Newark Symphony Hall in New Jersey, and I wanted to be in that showcase very bad. You know, this is Whitney's town. Um, there were other singers that were just as great auditioning. And I was up there with people who just knew what they were doing. And I wanted to be of that caliber. So I walk in, I do all of the above that I mentioned at the outset. And that day I had a bad cold. So I'll give you a tip. Take care of your voice. And that's why I'm an advocate of, covering up. I thought I had a scarf nearby to show you, but I always try to keep a scarf or something around my neck, especially in drafty areas when the weather's like back and forth, which is what it's doing right now in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's back and forth. It's cold in the mornings. By the afternoons, it's hot. It's blazing. But people think, oh, it's going to be 80 something degrees out. Oh, I'll be good. I'll just walk outside in the morning. Wrong. I'm more susceptible to colds and sore throats. So I have to make sure I cover my neck region, my chest, so that I don't get sick. Well, I'm going to make sure I'm wrapped accordingly. So I always keep a scarf, something very light, but enough to cover my throat where I don't feel like those elements are getting anywhere near my skin. All right. Well, I developed a sore throat. I go in, I auditioned. I couldn't quite hit my notes. And I was really bummed because I knew the people who were auditioning, and I'm not bragging, but I knew I could stand next to them. I knew I could hold a candle to them. I knew it. I knew I was fantastic. I had been on auditions before and knocked it out the park. So this was to me like a walk in the park. But once you're sick, it's beyond you. There's nothing you can do. But I'm a person, I don't want to ruin my audition by saying, oh, I don't feel good. I have a cold. Never walk in and say, oh, I'm not feeling my best. I'm just not doing well today. You just told them that you didn't care to come in prepared. You just told them you're looking for an out. You just told them you're looking for an excuse. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. That is a rookie move, and they will see right through it. So I went in and I sang the best of my ability, sick and all. I didn't get the audition. I didn't get picked, and I was bummed about it. However, I was so determined. 2 days later, after I had gone in the kitchen, concocted my, secret weapon, got my throat in order, I went back. I had on a wig. I forget the color wig I had on, but I donned a wig where you could not tell it was me. Even the color wasn't me. I went in there completely different. My outer appearance, completely different than what they had seen. I had to make these people believe they were seeing somebody completely different. And I walked in and I sang Why Does It Hurt So Bad by Whitney Houston. And I floored that bad boy. I get home, I get a phone call. You've made the cut. Thank you for coming in. We really liked your voice. We liked the way you showed up. Just everything was great. And before I'm saying my thank yous and everything to them. And they said, by the way, we recognized you from the other day. Here I had thought I was fooling these people, and no, I wasn't. They recognized me. So they saw something in my personality, whatever, of course, that matched them to that's that girl that was here. But they saw I came back and I came back strong. There's a lesson in that. Just because you failed that audition that day does not mean you may not get a second chance. Sometimes I've seen people even ask that, is it possible I could come back in a few days and audition again to show you what I can do? Hasn't that happened on American Idol? One of these shows where they've come back and they said, this was an off day for me. I'd love to be able to show you what I can do. And they've come back, and next thing you know, they're in. Be resilient. Do not take no for an answer unless it's an absolute no. But I always say that no means not right now. I want you to switch that gear and think not right now. And honestly, if you are not any better, if you don't do any better than the day you walked in, face the facts that you need to go back and study and become better and become great so that the next time you've got this. So never take a no as not possible, never going to happen. Change that mindset, switch that mindset to not right now, not at this time, but in the future, yes. Or you know what I used to say to myself through self positive talk? I'm going to get that audition. I would literally walk myself into a yes and gear myself up for that yes to happen. So that's something to think about. What changed the outcome of my situation? I walked in better prepared with my vocals, a song that I knew was going to be dynamic at that time. Listen to what's out, what's current, what's catchy. And a lot of times they will tune in to see what you can do. So study the area or the artistry that they want you to audition for, and maybe come with a song that they're used to, they're expecting it, that perk their ears up. But be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. Don't try to do anything out of the ordinary that is going to take away from your audition. Some people go so big, they miss it. Stay in your lane, stay comfortable, but rock that mic so that you know you can do what you need to do. All right. So walk in with confidence. Now, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be nervous. It's a known thing to go to an audition and be nervous, but I think that's what does it for me. Like, I know I'm nervous, so my adrenaline's running. I settle myself down. I do a couple of, deep breaths, and I just let my shoulders drop, breathe through my nose. And as I keep doing that, I just start to get lower and lower, like I'm relaxing myself. And I just get ready to do the thing that I'm supposed to do. And do a couple of warm ups, some scales. On the way over, I'm in my car. I'm not singing full throat. I'm not over singing to the point that I'm hoarse. Gotta learn to lay off those vocals so that you don't do anything to hurt yourself during that process. So just think about those things. But I make eye contact with the person. I make sure my posture's upright. I show them that I have presence. I'm in the room, but I'm not in the room to be like, hey, I'm in the room. I'm here, but I'm not all up in here. I don't have that funky attitude. I'm just present. I'm positively present. And if there is a mistake, I handle that mistake gracefully. For example, if they called for Myra, somebody to come to the stage, and it's not the Myra I thought it was, I just say, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you had called Myra Farrow. You see what I'm saying? Like, you've got to know how to handle things gracefully, and then just take it light and just say, you can see I'm eager, but I'll be back. Joke. Like, if that's your personality. If that's not your personality, then you've got to grow into what your personality is and be yourself, because they're going to see through that. They're not judging your voice. They're not. They're judging your performance. So just be very careful with that. They're imagining working with you. In their minds, they want to see, what would it be like to work with Myra DeShields Farrell? What would it be like to work with, say your name out loud? Practice that for a second and say it. I'm going to pause. I want you to say, what is it like to work with, and say your name. See, it should bring about the reality of, what if somebody said that to you? And I've certainly got that from auditioning, where people said, I didn't think I was going to get that out of you, and you surprised me, or I didn't see that coming. That's nice, right? That's a nod to say, okay, you've done something that really got that director or that teacher's attention, and that's what you want. Um, Normalize the rejection. So let's say that you don't get the part. Let me say something to you. Even for seasoned performers, we don't get the part. So it all depends on what that director's looking for. So don't feel bad. You might not be the right color that day. When I say color, you may not be the flavor of the month that they were looking for. They might have had a taste for lavender and you came in with peppermint. Don't take yourself too seriously. Do the best that you can and leave it there. Leave it on the floor. Don't take it personal. As I said, turn your no into redirection. Not right now, possibly down the line, or I'll get it next time. I'm definitely going to get it next time. You might have to audition several times before they actually say yes. That happened to me. Oh my goodness. Now I'm remembering a story. I had to audition for a showcase, and they kept calling me back to Atlanta, and me, I wasn't a fool. I kept going back because I believed in what I was going for. And I would see a panel of judges. I'm up there singing all kinds of stuff, groove theory. I'm singing, I can't even remember half the stuff I was singing back then. I was singing, I think I did some Jill Scott. I had done some jazz, some Nina Simone probably. I just had a repertoire of different music because I wasn't sure what they were looking for. But each time they called me back, I did something different. But each time I came back, I would see them toe tapping and snapping, but they never called me back for this showcase. And I was getting frustrated at that point because I thought, well, I'm killing it. I see them tapping their feet. I see them enjoying me and clapping when I was done. But they keep calling me back to audition again. Y'all, I laugh at this to this day. They were using me for the crowd of people that were coming into audition. So they were baiting the people coming in to say you have to be just as good as this if you want to make it in, or you have to be like this, is so you have to rise to this occasion. And they were using me to get the crowd, riled up. But I never knew that. And then they tell me later, girl, you were in. And I'm like, what? So listen, just go with it. Sometimes you don't have all the answers in the beginning, but just go with it. You just never know what could come out of that. All right. I'm going to tell you, sometimes a no at the beginning could mean something so big later. So I've had a couple of times where I got a no, and it was the best thing for me because there was something better for me down the line. So again, just keep that in mind. A no can tie you into something so much greater. Give your listeners something tangible, something they can feel. Make sure that outfit is intentional. Make sure your music is prepared, track or live. Make sure your confidence is anchored, that you cannot be shaken back and forth in the event of a little minor hiccup. Make sure you are warmed up and ready to go. Every audition has a chance to refine your artistry. Every audition. Every time I walked out and second guessed myself, it gave me a chance to refine what was lacking and to come back even stronger. So I want you to remember that. Now, if you do all of the above and you walk into that audition prepared, I want you to be grateful because that alone is success. The fact that you carried out an audition and you were successful in delivering that audition, whether you got a yes or a no, that is a success because that's one step closer to you nailing your future goal. I want you to think of it as steps. You're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to that goal. So you've got to start somewhere. You have to have beginnings. Every great singer had beginnings. They started somewhere. So do not get discouraged if you don't get the yeses right away. Don't think you're going to walk in and just all of a sudden be this amazing singer where you get these yeses. You could be somebody else who could be star quality, knocking it out the park. I would say to you, your biggest thing is going to be when you do get a no, is going to floor you. Always stay humble. Always stay appreciative. If you operate in that mindset, in that mental space, you can't be knocked off your feet. Just stay, stay positive, stay upbeat. Stay pleasant, though you might be around people who are toxic. Don't give in to their way of thinking. Be very careful the circles you keep because that's what comes through a lot of times when you're auditioning. Be that light that you need to be so that going forward, you are a beacon that people are drawn to and they will want to work with you in the future. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, The Art of Auditioning. This is so important in a start of a journey into being a wonderful and great singer. And I still believe in auditioning to this day. Every gig that I have obtained, I have auditioned. I want you to think this one little thing before we close today. Every time you take the stage, and let's say you're gigging and you get a performance here or there, you're auditioning for your next gig because someone in that room is seeing you and saying, I certainly have received gigs after gigs after gigs after gigs because I show up. I hope you show up, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and knock that audition out. We'll talk soon. Oh, and let me give you episode 11, The Art of Performing. This was talking about auditioning, but now let's say you get the yes. Now what you gonna do? We'll talk soon.